Welcome in to Moving the Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside John Epps. Jarrell Hendricks back on the board as always, here for our state championships preview show, John. The weekend of champions is here, man. We've got 6 great matchups across Friday and Saturday. Cannot wait to break those down tonight for you guys.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Just awesome teams that are going to be dotting the weekend of champions and some well-deserved programs, a lot of familiar faces and a few new ones that I'm glad to see there.
Certainly. If you guys are tuning in for the first time, really appreciate you. Be sure to follow us here on Facebook at Movin Chains, on Twitter /X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains. That's MOVINCHAINS. Also on TikTok, our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more, and our website at movinchains.com. We do a weekly preview show live Tuesday nights throughout the season at 7:15 p.m. Love breaking down each week's games. Hopefully you guys will tune in next season for those. In the offseason, we'll have coach interviews, player interviews, lots of great stuff, along with some food reviews, teams of the week, players of the week, stuff like that as well as we wrap up the 2025 season here. As always, get your Moving the Chains merch right now, just in time for Christmas. Some great T-shirts, a black T-shirt, a gray T-shirt, a navy blue, also a pink. You can get those now. You can email us, info@movinchains.com. We've got great hoodies here, a kind of a grayish color one, along with kind of a whiter stone as well. Some great Richardson hats, a gray front here with a gray back and a black back. Also a black front version up there as well. For these colder games, a Moving the Chains toboggan, gray or black. Love to have you repping those. John and I were both wearing ours last week in Florence. It was very cold down there on the sideline Friday nights. And then our Moving the Chains stickers looks great on your coffee mug, your Yeti, your laptop, your car, whatever you want to do. Order one today. You can email, once again, info@movinchains.com, or send us a DM on social media. All pictures are also on there of all our merch we have available. Hope you guys will help support us, help grow the brand, help spread the word about the show, and obviously South Carolina high school football. Now, John, before we get into the CONA games of the week, obviously they're all CONA games of the week this week with them being so big. We do have a slight change from the way we've been doing it. Over the past couple years, we've had a kind of a 3-day affair for the state title. We have a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. This year, we're doing all Friday and Saturday, 3 games per day down in Orangeburg. We'll see if we like it or not. I don't know. It's the first time we've done that. I think first thoughts is it's probably good to kind of make it into a 2-day thing, but obviously it's still really tough for some of those folks having to get to those early Friday games, especially, it feels like.
Yeah, I wish we still did the 2-day that we did way back when. I know we have an additional classification now, but it's I wish we did an early evening game on Friday, do a late game Friday, and then Saturday. Yeah, your first game might be 10 a.m., but you got football all throughout the day. I wish that's how we did it. I thought that's what I like, because that's how I, grew up with it. But, going to Williams-Brice on Saturday, getting there at, 9:30, 10 in the morning, and being there for 12 hours, just watching great football all day. That was cool. That was really, really cool. But hey, I don't make the rules for a reason, I guess. And the fact of the matter is we got some great teams, some great matchups, and 2 days is better than 3. Let's fit as much football as we can in 1 day as possible.
For sure. Once again, let's get going with our CONA games of the week. What we're going to do this week, guys, we're going to go from 1A up through 5A. So we'll start with the 1A ranks here in a second. Brandon says, what's up, guys? He went to Strom and Fairfield Central last week. Hope the Fairfield quarterback is okay. I believe I saw that he is doing better. I think I saw he had the surgery as well. So certainly a great ball game. It sounded like Brandon. Boss man, good evening. Good having you, buddy. Appreciate you. Terrence, look, guys, Hampton County in the house. Talk about the Hurricanes here in a minute. Terrence, thank you for joining us. Zach says, doesn't feel like it's time for the state title games, but here we are. Time flies. Appreciate our coverage. Thank you, Zach. Yeah, the season has flown by, man. It's been a quick playoff run, especially, it feels like. But appreciate you tuning in and all the kind words, as always. Noah says, good evening, ready for those BHP Bears. Going to be a fun game in 3A. Bulldogs says Strom Thurmond in the building. 8C is on the clock. The Rebs are rolling. Dion says Strom Thurmond in the building as well. Matt says, so sad football is over. See y'all in 8 months. Matt, and we'll have some great content. We'll do some new coach interviews and whatnot throughout this offseason. So hopefully you'll check us out across the summer months as well. Kevron says, go Bamberg. Riverside says, Big Dutch Fork. Tony's got Bamberg by 14.
All right, we'll get into it, but yeah, we'll definitely start going. Didn't mean to pump the brakes on you like that, but we always got to get comments before we get into the games. I know they're big ones, and you guys are excited, but let's jump into it now.
Well, let's start the 1A ranks. This is the 4:00 Friday matchup here. We've got the 12-2 Lamar Silver Foxes taking only 14-0 Bamberg-Ehrhardt Red Raiders. Lamar, a big win over Louisville, 48-27 last week. They're averaging 42 on offense per game, 16 allowed on defense per game. Bamberg-Ehrhardt, a late touchdown drive in the fourth. They come back to beat Cross 29-26, averaging 52 points per game on offense, just 7 allowed on defense. John, looking at some film on these guys, reading about these guys a little bit, they're kind of similar. They both got a lot of athletes. This should be a fantastic 1A matchup on Friday afternoon.
Yeah, Lamar looks very, very athletic. Saw some tape on them this past week. Really good group, and boy, they have cruised through the playoffs. They've really come alive this season, really the back half of the season as well. Bamberg-Ehrhardt, they had a close game across last week, but they have really breezed through their schedule as well in a tough lower state bracket in 1A. If you look at these teams on paper, you got like Lamar. No one has been close to them in the playoff run. But I look at that lower state bracket, and knowing what we know about the lower state in 1A football, it is really, really strong. And I think the biggest thing that stands out to me over the entire 1A bracket is that Bamberg win over Carver's Bay a couple weeks ago. That's a Carver's Bay team that, is really, really good. They're physical. They're big. And that's a really good football team. And Bamberg destroyed them. Being 48-20, really had their way in that game. And to me, that proved how dynamic this Bamberg-Ehrhardt team really is. Because that Carver's Bay team, they're tough up front. It's tough on the line of scrimmage. And Bamberg scored 48 points. It was business as usual for those guys. I want to say we're going to see a relatively high scoring game in this one. I think it's going to be a really exciting game. You got a lot of athletes. I think these guys are going to find a way to score points and move the ball down the field on both sides. But I like the Red Raiders. I think Bamberg-Ehrhardt I think they have the talent. And I think the lower state, not just the playoff run, I think the lower state in general has prepared Bamberg-Ehrhardt a little bit better. I think they are maybe not better, but to me, they're more proven. I think this is a really, really, they're really good. Both of them are really good football teams. But I think Bamberg-Ehrhardt is going to win this 1A classification. It should be a great game. I'm hoping for a great game, but I like the Red Raiders.
Bamberg, led by quarterback Brian McMillan, like we said all year, stepped in, has played so good for that group there. Coach Crosby's team has been rolling with him at the helm. Tons of weapons around him. Jason Humans, Ant Williams, Jordan Bovain, Chris Washington, Marcus Can. He's a special athlete for them. Defensively, they've been stout as well, allowing just 7 points per game. We mentioned McMillan already. You got Jalen McGraw, Walker, Cease, all big-time players on the defense side for the Red Raiders. On the Lamar side, quarterback Zori Pierce, one of the best players, not only in 1A in the state at the quarterback spot. Last week, 9 for 15, 126, 2 touchdowns, 17 rushes for 132, and 4 more touchdowns. A career-high 4 rushing touchdowns in his last game at home. Love to see that. Love to see that from Zori. Running back Nigel Eady went 19 for 133 and a touchdown. Juju Morris, 2 catches for 45 and a touchdown. Camille McCoy, 5 catches for 59 and a touchdown. Defensively, Mont Williams, a defensive end, 7 tackles, 1.5 TFLs and 1.5 sacks, and 4 hurries. DQ Green had 7 tackles, Edie 7 tackles at TFL, Travis Durant, Devon Locust, all big-time players. And they had 3 picks last week against that really talented Louisville squad. Green, Morris, and Messiah Symes all came up with the one for Coach Boyd's bunch. This is going to be a great ball game, John. And I think leading into the playoffs, we were all really high on Bamberg. I think Lamar had finally slipped into our poll maybe the last week with that win over Louisville. They had been kind of hanging around that 6-7 spot. It felt like there for a while, but they finally got into the top 5 for that win over Louisville. But now all of a sudden, man, the way they play football, like you said, they might not be, the favorite, but they certainly aren't an underdog in this game either, it feels like, because they've just been rolling everyone. Coach Boyd at Lamar, can't say enough about what he's done in year 1 there. Stepping in for Coach Burris, who really had this program heading in a good direction. Coach Boyd comes in, playing for the state title, man. Something people didn't see coming. When you got to Abbeville in the upper state, you think that's going to be the team there. But Lamar is the guy we got playing right now. And Coach Boyd, what he does great, and what I like about the way that he coaches football, really good at manipulating the box on offense. Like, he's going to get the numbers in his favor with motions or just the way they set up. So they do a good job of getting the numbers in their favor, where Pierce can then take a crease, take it to the house. Edie can have a big run, whatever it is. He does a great job. So Coach Crosby's bunch got to be really careful about that. Make sure they're aligned correctly in the right spots. Don't want to give them any creases, any running lanes, because Pierce gets it, he's going to the house. So got to watch out for that. Bamberg-Ehrhardt, a team that had not really been tested, it felt like, until the last couple weeks. And last week especially, you're in a game against Cross, you're down late, you go on a 10-minute drive to take the lead and to win that football game, man. Really impressive stuff, what that group did late, what they kind of galvanized each other and was able to do. Going to be a really fun ball game. This is a game where I think 2 weeks ago I'd have picked Bamberg-Ehrhardt, but now I just don't know anymore. I like Lamar a lot. I like what they've done. The way they've been rolling has been really impressive. Tyler Boyd's dad, J.R. Boyd, led Lamar to 3 straight titles back in the early 2000s. I think this week Tyler gets his first. I think Lamar gets the win over Bamberg-Ehrhardt. I think it's going to be a really tight game. I think Zori Pierce is the difference maker. I think he breaks a long play here or there. I think they win a tight ball game in what should be, maybe the game of the weekend, John. I might be more excited for this game than I have anybody else we've got coming up. But, Drell, what do you like in this 1A matchup? What's the chat saying? I think really, like most of these games, it could go either way, but this one especially seems really tight to me.
I don't like your 6'7" joke. I'll tell you that. That was terrible. But I do like both of these teams a lot. And I'm with you. I've been agreeing with John a lot, especially in the playoffs, but I'm going to side with you on this one. I think Lamar's going to win this football game. And I don't think I would have said that until probably this week. I think that's a situation where we've kind of penciled Bamberg into this spot. They've handled their business. I think they've had a tougher road in the playoffs, but we have maybe seen a little bit of cracks. I mean, we talked about that defense. At one point, they had given up like 55 total points until they got into the first round of the playoffs. And in the last 2 weeks, while they took care of business against Carver's Bay, gave up 20, then they give up 26 this week. So maybe as the competition has gotten a little bit tougher, maybe that defense isn't as dominant as we thought. And I don't think there's a more, hot team than Lamar is right now. I think, going into the playoffs, the way they finished the season, and I believe in that when it comes to sport, who's playing the best. And that's not to take away anything from this Bamberg bunch. I mean, we've had them top 2, top 3 all season this year. Just love what Coach Crosby's done with them. And I think it's going to be a really good football game. I think it's one score regardless of who it goes to.
And it's really cool to see these guys both back in this spotlight, like 2 historically good programs at the lower levels here in the state. Have not really been there the last several years. They are back now fighting it out, man. Going to be a lot of fun seeing these 2 get after it at 4 o'clock on Friday. What's the chat got for us, Sherelle, on this 1A matchup?
Filtering lots of comments here, so I'm excited about this.
Moses says Lamar with the win. Tony's got Lamar for the win as well. Brandon says Bamberg wins, and he thinks they'll be the only undefeated team in the state. Dion's got Bamberg 36-22. Eric says Bamberg by 40. Kendrick says them Red Raiders are different. They are very good, man, and that's why we've had them. I think we had them 2 most of the year. Dwayne says Bamberg all day. Travis says Bamberg-Ehrhardt by 14. Manzi says Bamberg by 21. Yeah,
so it's a leaning heavy to Bamberg, which, I mean, they've earned that.
Yeah, sure. They've played all. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, again, Lamar is kind of this season, the new kid on the block. They've really risen, as it's gone, their profile. But Bamberg has really been a title contender since the jump.
And what's interesting, too, you mentioned that point earlier, John. You said this might be a shootout, which is something that I feel like if you look at the stats, you're like, nah, no way. Like, these defenses are great. But I think these offenses are that good on both sides where they will score some points. So I think it should be a really exciting game. I don't think we're looking at 10-7 or anything like that. I think we're probably more in the 20s, maybe 30s, honestly, for this matchup here and what should be a really good ball game.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a lot of big plays.
Yeah, I like that. There's a lot of athletes. Our second CONA game of the week. You ready for that one now, Drell? Yes? All right. Our second CONA game of the week, the 2A matchup, the Strom Thurmond Rebels at 12-2. Taking on the 11-3 Hampton County Hurricanes. This is the 4 o'clock Saturday matchup. down at Oliver C. Dawson Stadium at South Carolina State University. Strom Thurmond, a 15-13 win over Fayetteville Central last week, averaging 37 on offense, 14 allowed on defense. Hampton County, a nice win over Central, 43-22, averaging 43 on offense, 16 on defense. The Hurricanes, led by quarterback Terrell Grant, went 7 for 8, 107 and a touchdown last week. Running back Jalen Singletary, another monster game, 24 rushes for 273, 5 touchdowns, John. They are averaging over 300 rush yards per game as a team this season. Receivers Desmond Mathis and Jasmine Goins are weapons out wide for them. Defensively, leading tacklers Malik Terry. They've got Braden Blake, Tyler Davis, Singletary, and Gavin Polite also as playmakers on that side of the football for Coach Rob Hanna. For Strom Thurmond, we said it last week, quarterback Bryshawn Lee. Not going to have the most eye-popping numbers most weeks, but he's a guy that's a veteran, has played a lot of football, knows what to do in key spots, and that's certainly a really important thing to have such a key position like quarterback in a state title game. Running back, Deontay Phillips had a touchdown last week, went over 1,000 yards for the season. Lots of guys carry it. Zaya Rouse had a touchdown. Caden Wigfall, Trimquillis Mathis, all will get touches in this ball game. Receivers, Shaheed Williams, Braylon Searles, Caleb Simpkins. Defensively, Grady Stone had 9 tackles, 2 TFLs. Bryson Coleman, 6 tackles. Caden Wigfall, 5 tackles. Grayson Smith, 3 tackles, 2 TFLs. Simpkins, he's a key player on defense, man. Roams around on that back end, really kind of patrols that. Had a huge pass breakup in the end zone last week to kind of help that win for the Rebels. Head coach Andrew Webb has gotten the Rebels back to the state title. This is their first appearance since 2005. Hampton County, their first appearance in school history as they just became a school a couple years back. John, what do you like in this matchup, man? Two teams that are, feel like they're really physical, a lot of size as well. And both have just been, killing teams lately, especially Hampton County in the playoffs.
Yeah, Hampton County's been doing it all year. They prepared themselves with a pretty tough out-of-region schedule, so they're a very well-prepared group. They, I think early in the season they understood, okay, this is what we have to work on. This is what we need to get better at. And through region play and through the playoffs, they've been awesome. Their closest game to the playoffs was against Sherrall back in round 2. They won 28-10, and they've done it a lot like Strom Thurmond. They've won some games offensively. They won some games defensively. They didn't blow up the scoreboard against Sherrall. Only gave up 10 points and win the game comfortably. This is a really, really good football team on both ends. I really like the talent in Hampton County. I think Strom Thurmond, they have 100% earned their place in this game. But, I think we would be lying to ourselves if we didn't say, hey, they caught a little bit of a break last week. Fayetteville Central's quarterback getting hurt, really unfortunate situation for the Griffins there. If he doesn't go out, that game could have ended differently. But that's part of football. And, at the end of the day, you got to go out and win the game. You got to go out and make plays. It's next man up. And Strom Thurmond's done that. They played a really hot Chester team a couple weeks ago, shut them down. The Rebels have answered the call every single step of the way here in the playoffs. And they're a veteran group. We've heard these names for years now. They're well coached. They expect to be here. They've wanted to be here for a long time. I think it's going to be, I would love for someone outside the state of South Carolina to come to this game and go, wow, this is your 2A?
Yeah.
Because I think there's going to be a lot of people at this game, and it's going to be, it's going to have some good atmosphere, some good passion to it. But I like the Hurricanes in this game. They've been doing it all year long, and I like the talent from them. I like that they got tested early on out of region. I think that does a lot for high school programs, especially these smaller schools. And I just think Hampton County is a slightly better football team this year. I think it should be a great game. I think Strom Thurmond is going to make this a really, really close game. And like all these games, whoever wins this game's got to go out and earn it. The other side's not going to give you any gifts. Highly do not expect that in this game at all. But I like Hampton County. I think the Hurricanes are just a little bit more talented in this matchup, and I think that's going to be the separation here. It should be a great game. I think we're going to see a low-scoring game, and I think Hampton County just makes a couple plays more.
One thing that I like about this game, you'll see is a theme in a lot of these matchups, John. all these teams tested themselves non-region play. Like, Strom Thurmond, you play a really good North Augusta team. You play Lincoln County out of Georgia. You've played some really big hitters to get ready for a deep run like this. And then on the Hampton County side, your 3 losses, Bluffton, Hilton Head Island, Christchurch, all bigger schools. So those teams really did a good job of scheduling out of region to make sure they're ready for a deep run like this.
And good schools too.
Yes. Not just pushovers either, like really, really good programs. I'm really intrigued by this game because it feels like to me this class may have the biggest disconnect, like when you're talking to coaches and fans over upper state, lower state. Like a lot of times, like you guys, a little peek behind the curtain, I like to text coaches, say, hey, what do you like in this matchup? You've seen this team play. How good are they? Yada, yada. But it feels like in 2A especially, all the upper state coaches think the upper state teams are way better than lower state, and it's not even close. If you text a lower state coach, they think lower state is just as good, if not better, than upper state. Like a lot of times it's kind of a good mix, but this class seems to be a huge disconnect. And I don't know, and I look back to last year's 2A game, Barnwell, Clinton. We thought both teams were really good. Clinton blew the doors off Barnwell. So last year, the upper state clearly was a lot better, it felt like. This year, is it the same situation? I don't know. We certainly shall see. I think the key number for me is 50. And what is that number, John? 50. So Jalen Singletary for Hampton County right now has 47 touchdowns on the season. He wants to get to 50. I think if he gets to 50, I think the Hurricanes win. If he doesn't get to 50, I think the Rebels win. So that is the key number for me there. I think Thurmond, the speed they have, is going to catch Hampton County a little bit off guard early on, at least, enough to kind of get them in the ball and maybe get an early lead in this one. I think this game's been an absolute dogfight, a heavyweight battle, maybe who gets the ball last type deal, who can make a big turnover, especially play whatever. I think Strom Thurmond wins a close matchup here. I'm thinking probably a little more low scoring than that last game, maybe low 20s or so. But I like Strom Thurmond to win this game. I think the Rebels get a state title, first one in 20 years. I like Coach Webb's bunch in this one. Jarrell, what do you like? What do you think in this ball game?
Man, I got to consult the stats department and research. I didn't realize my man had 47 touchdowns on the year. That is insane.
Pretty impressive, huh?
There. Yeah, that's not bad. Getting it done there. Man, I've been waffling back and forth on this game, even as you guys were talking, and you both, of course, split it and have compelling arguments, and I really don't know which way to go. But I'm going to land on the team, and you predicted them, Kevin. Unranked state title game preseason. I can't believe you did that. Just pulled it out because you picked so many teams. But I'm going to go with Thurmond here. I think the defense is just a little bit better, and I think they're going to be able to kind of corral that running game a little bit. And I'm honestly, your last point on the game last year, I really was high on that Barnwell team as well, and they just got dominated because really that Clinton defense just stifled them. And I think we may have a similar situation here. Take nothing away from Hampton County. They're always physical up front, and that's why they have such a dominant run game. So I'm excited to see that battle in the trenches between this. Like John mentioned, these are 2A teams playing. We know that both of these guys can hit. Both these teams are physical. But I think Thurmond's going to be able to get it done here. And I think the reason why is their defense is a little bit better. They're going to be able to not stop, but slow down that high-powered Hampton County offense.
And they faced some really good running backs. Just last week, Cameron is really good at Fairfield Central. You had, obviously, Wooden at basically at least earlier on in the year. Kareem at Liberty, who's a Shrine Bowler. You faced Michael Doe at North Augusta. They've seen some really good backs, and hopefully that helps them in this ball game. But should be, like I'm thinking, this is a street fight type ball game, it feels like to me.
Feaster at Chester, right?
Feaster at Chester as well, yes.
That guy, he might have been the fastest guy I saw in high school football last year.
He could go.
All right, guys. So as you know, we're going to have some comments here, so just bear with me. Be ready.
Strom Thurmond by 21, says Travis. Brandon says going with Thurmond 28-24. Zori says, let's go. Kendrick says, we're going to see Saturday. I'm telling you now, Big Bamberg and Hampton County for the win. I like it. Greg says Strom Thurmond will stop the run game 28-7 Rebels. Dion says 28-14 Rebs. Bulldog says just pick Hampton County. Don't butter us up, John. He was setting up the move there.
The real thing here is, where's Bulldog going to be this week? Is he going to go see Georgia play, or is he going to see Strom Thurmond play? That's what we need to know.
Terrence has got Hampton County by 21. Bernard says Rebels are battle tested. Dion says defense wins championships, blue steel for the win. I mean, you look back at last week, you had to make a 2-point conversion stop, and they did, man. They really came up big. Bulldog says he promises he won't get to 50.
Had to butter you up there, Kev.
Thank you, Bulldog says Kevin knows ball. Appreciate you, my man.
Here comes the butter.
Quentin says 48-21, Hampton County. Bernard's got Rebels by 10. Jonathan says number 0 for Hampton will be the difference. He is a playmaker, man. I mean, you don't get 47 touchdowns by accident. You got to be really good to get to that point.
Good to know.
Bulldog says Strom Thurmond ticket booked. I love it, my man. I love it.
We'll see you down in Orangeburg. But yeah, that's all we got. Of course, this one's going to be a slobber knocker, as they used to say, of a football game here. I'm excited about this one, guys.
Certainly should be good. That once again, that's the 4 o'clock on Saturday matchup drill. Let's shout out some friends of the program. Come back and go through the 3A and 4A state title matchups.
Everyday life means everyday expenses. Spend smarter with the Founders Federal Credit Union credit card. Offering you low rates and big rewards where it matters most. Enjoy all the benefits of saving while using your Founders Essential MasterCard. Make every swipe and tap count with smart rates, big rewards on select cards, and no balance transfer or annual fees. Because your money should go where you want it to. That's the power of Founders Federal Credit Union. Apply today at foundersfcu.com. Relax. You're with Founders.
With 3 convenient locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville, Carolina Orthopaedic and Neurosurgical Associates, CONA, offers the most advanced training and experience in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. Go to CONA.care to learn more.
Let's look now at the 3A state title game. John, a rematch from last year. We've got the 14-0 Belton-Honea Path Bears taking on the 12-2 Oceanside Collegiate Land Sharks. This is the game that kicks off the weekend, 12 p.m. on Friday in Orangeburg. Last year, the Land Sharks won this game 35-17 to win the state title. That was their second in a row. 2 years ago, they won the 2A state title. Last year, the 3A state title. Now going for 3 in a row. John, both teams have been rolling. Belton-Honea Path, 35-7 over Powdersville last week. Oceanside, 35-7 or 38-7, over Loris. What do you like here, man? Two teams that have been just hammering everyone, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think these are two pretty similar teams that we saw play last year as well. Belton-Honea Path, they want to run the football. They can throw the football this year better than they could last year, I think. But they want to keep the ball on the ground. They play really, really good defense. Oceanside on the other end, Eamon Avian, he's still there. He's still great. And they don't, this Oceanside team, they don't have a weakness. They play well defensively. They know what it takes offensively. They can throw it if they need to. They're big up front. They can run the ball as well. But I think this BHP team, myself especially, I didn't give them enough credit this year. I thought, hey, they lose Henderson. They're going to take a definite step back. But they really haven't. And their vertical passing game has improved this year.
Yes.
They've been much improved. I saw we watched a little bit of that game last night on our way home. We were stuck in traffic, so we weren't driving and watching. We were sitting stationary, watching this game a little bit. But I've watched a little bit of BHP this year, and it's impressive how well defensively they have played. I've only seen it in the playoffs. I think we're going to see a better game than we saw last year. I think defensively they might be a little bit better. I definitely don't think they're worse than they were last year. I think offensively they're a little bit more dynamic, which is crazy without Henderson. But all of that being said, Oceanside's I don't know how Oceanside doesn't win this game. They are as complete of a team as you can get. I mean, let's not forget this group beat Dutch Fork. This is a really, really good football team, barring any classification, anything like that. They are just a doggone really, really good football team. You could argue they're the best team in the state. I think they win this game. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than what we saw last year, but I think Oceanside, I think they can control the football game again. I think we're going to see a rather low scoring game. I don't know Oceanside gets to 30 or not, but I think we're looking at probably a 28-7 kind of ball game here.
The Bears averaging 49 on offense, just 9 allowed on defense, led by quarterback Noah Thomas. Didn't have his best passing game last week. Still has 2,000 yards on the season, 32 touchdowns and 5 picks, plus 700 rush yards and 11 more touchdowns on the season. You know, I was reading an article, I think this week about BHP, where last year, really run heavy. Didn't throw it much. This year, like you mentioned, John, much more multiple, much more dynamic what they can do through the pass and the run game. Really added an extra element. Noah has played great this season, really stepped up his play. Running back MJ Earl last week, 21 for 212 and 4 touchdowns. Receiver Tajay Watson-Martin right around 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns on the season. Defensively, KJ Miles had 5 tackles. Watson-Martin had 4. Ty Dubose had 4. Kamarion Glenn, 3 tackles, 3 TFLs. Jakari Anderson is all over the field for them. Kylan Dixon and D. Chester had a pick and a PBU as well. This is a team that I saw Coach Blackton with a post-game interview last week said this group, I think, of seniors has won around, 50 games in their 4 years, which is really impressive. I mean, a team that, 50 is a lot for anybody to win. That's a heck of a run there over 4 years. That's 12 plus a season there. So really, really great what they have done there. On the Oceanside side of things, 41 points scoring on offense, just 15 allowed on defense. Quarterback Aiden Manavian last week, 20 for 28, 276, 2 TDs. Running back Zakai Muncie, 18 for 64 and a touchdown. Terrence Johnson, 6 catches with $139 and a touchdown, and ran 3 for 64 and 2 more touchdowns. Having a monster season. He's got 17 receiving touchdowns, 6 rushing touchdowns on the season. Also, they have weapons in Anthony Williams, Ethan Renew, and Cooper Webb out wide. Defensively, like you said, John, really good up front. The front seven's really good with Mike Jones, Sawyer Arnold, Joey Harriet, Reese Meredith, and Roe Parson. Defensive backs, Michael Strickler, Cole Gasper. Strickler will really hit you across the middle. Does a good job kind of patrolling that back end for them. BHP, like you said, I feel like we've probably overlooked them some. And like looking back, like that was certainly a miss on our part. It was just hard to judge them because of the schedule. Obviously not their fault, but we just didn't know what to make of who they were playing. But now in the playoffs, they played some good teams. They played a good Powdersville bunch. They played a pretty good Southside Christian team. They played a good Woodruff team. Hammered everybody. I mean, they have not given up more than 7 points in 6 weeks, dating back to October 24th. The defense especially is flying around. If you look back at last year's game, a key in that one, John, Noah Thomas left that game early. A collarbone injury, I think second quarter. And that really flipped it. I think Oceanside was going to win the game probably either way. But losing your quarterback that early is certainly a tough thing to do. I think he certainly wants to prove a point, wants to come back and make a statement this year. I think he's ready for and poised for a big matchup. But you mentioned it, Aiden Manavian last year, 21 for 26, 326, 4 touchdowns. I mean, I don't know how you slow that down. Even if you hold him to 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, it's tough to overcome that. I think Oceanside is the better football team. Like, nothing against BHP. Like, I think they are the second best team in 3A. Like, they are really, really good. I didn't realize that until recently, but the Bears are a solid group. But I think Oceanside is just too much firepower. I think that defense is going to be able to, hold down BHP enough where the Land Sharks offense can get going with Johnson and Manavian and that crew there. I think the Land Sharks win it. I think they win 3 in a row. But looking forward to this matchup on Friday at noon. Also want to shout out Coach Blackton. I saw the interviews today, the I guess pre-championship press conferences, and they asked him, about his team, and he's like, we're air raid, we throw it a ton, we never run the football, just kind of making a joke. And it was fun because the interviewer didn't realize he was joking. So that was even better about it. I was like, oh yeah. So a lot of fun watching that today and watching him have some fun with the press conference today. But Jarrell, what do you like in this one? I know you're high on Oceanside as well. Do you think BHP can pull this one out? Do you think it's the Land Sharks like John and I do?
Yeah, no need to bury the lead. Give me the Land Sharks. And that's no slight. I want to echo the same sentiments you guys had with BHP this year. I was wrong. That defense has been fantastic all year. Like you said, the offense has been more dynamic because, of course, it's crazy. Addition by subtraction. You lose such a talented player, Marquez Henderson, but it opened up so much more, playmaking ability for everybody else, and Thomas and Watson Martin and all those other guys to really contribute. And it was very diverse. I'm not sure if this game is going to be very much different in the scoreline, but that's not to say that this BHP team is probably a lot better than the one last year. I just think this Oceanside bunch is that good. Yeah. I mean, especially if we talk about Dutch Fork winning another state title in 5A D1. We'll talk about them later. If they win that game, I think Oceanside has a legitimate claim as the best team, regardless of class, in the state. Now, BHP could pull off the upset. It could be a miracle. We've seen it happen before. I mean, a few years ago, I was sitting there thinking that South Florence couldn't be touched, and Westside come in, last second drive by Cutter Woods. They scored a bunch of points in the fourth quarter. They win that game. So miracles, something could happen here, but I just think this Oceanside bunch is too good, too talented. But that's no slight against BHP. They've been fantastic all season.
If the Bears want to win this game, need a big special teams play. And Tajay Watson-Martin does have touchdowns in the punt return and the kickoff return game this year. Maybe he breaks a big one. Maybe that's how they get going. We shall see. But also, I'm really intrigued to see if we get some Tajay Watson-Martin, Terrence Johnson matchups out wide. Two really, really special athletes going at it. Could be a lot of fun to see on Friday.
And that's a kid, man. Terrence Johnson, I do want to talk about him. I mean, this is
the running back last year.
Yeah, we do our Super 75 every year, and we really put a lot of thought into it. I know a lot of people probably don't think that we do, but we think about kids everywhere. And he's a player that we talked about and debated this offseason. Kind of had to just wait his turn because he had a lot of guys in front of him the last 2 years, and just really took advantage of his opportunities this year and maximized everything. He has been one of the best players in the state this year. I want to give him a shout out for sure.
No doubt. What's the chat saying about this matchup, Jarrell? Chris says Bears getting it done.
Let's see. Man, there's so many comments. Sorry, guys.
All good. BHP about 14, says Travis. Joshua says, Dylan fan here. OCA was good last year. This year they are different. Won't be close. And they have rolled everyone in the playoffs, man. Paige says 42-14 OCA.
Sorry, this is a good question by Kelly. I wanted to highlight this one.
Do you think Pee Wee leagues are the cornerstone to solid high school teams? It certainly helps. I know that was the story back when you look at the Burns, Bobby Bentley days, where he instilled that offense at the younger level, where the kids grew up playing that style of football. When they got to high school, they knew what to do. So I think it certainly helps. I think Abbeville does a great job with that as well, John and Jarrell. I do think that certainly, maybe not the only thing that matters, but it certainly does help when you want to build a state title contender. Yeah,
if you get kids that have been playing together for, 10 years when they get to high school, and maybe not 10 years, but close to it. And you run, especially if you run the same kind of offense, you got so much chemistry and so much timing and trust built within a team. And that's, you got to have the talent, right? You got to have the game plan, but man, that's invaluable to have that kind of team chemistry. If you can have a group come up together that long, I saw it in Lugoff with baseball. There was a team that was typically got some of the better players on it every year, and they were great, but those guys made a really good high school team because they played together growing up, and you just had a good team chemistry already in place when you got to the high school level.
Yeah, we talked to Ian Guerin a few weeks ago, interviewed with him. Indian Land, that's kind of what his story was with that bunch this year, how they gelled, and they'd been playing together since they were in rec league. Great question, Kelly. Thank you.
Dion's got 48-7 OCA. Brandon says he wants to pick BHP, but he can't. Oceanside demolishing Dillon and Loris last 2 weeks. Don't see anybody can play with them. He's going Oceanside 48-21. Kevin says OCA can win 5A Division I, no contest Friday at noon.
Another good question here by Hoss.
Hoss says, how much role would the weather be? Great question, Hoss. And, I looked at it, I think last weekend, looked like just Saturday was going to rain. But now we're looking at rain all day Friday and a decent bit Saturday. I don't know. That's a great thing, because I think when you talk to you watch the NFL games, the college games, you're like, bad weather favors the offense because they know where they're going to go. They're not going to slip, yada, yada. But I don't know how much these high school kids get to practice in bad weather. So I don't know if that's the same for the offense. So it may be a defensive battle in all the matchups. I don't know. But I think the rain could certainly put a damper on some of these high-scoring games we're expecting.
I think it places a premium on the line of scrimmage. But keep in mind, that field is turf. So you're not going to have a muddy slop going on either.
Jonathan says 88 for Oceanside's a monster. Took 5 defenders to bring him down. Yeah, that's Terrence Johnson, man. He's a big-time player there for the Land Sharks.
Yeah, sorry, just filtering through these.
Brian Kelly says BHP, 2 towns, 1 team, play with heart. I love it. And it's so cool what that group has done. 50 wins over 4 seasons is really, really impressive. Benji says OCA 6, BHP 7. Hey, we're going to need a lot of rain if we're going to keep it to that low score and probably for both sides.
Most definitely. But yeah, that's a lot of the comments on this. Thanks for commenting, guys. But let's go to the next game.
The 4A state title matchup. This is the 12 o'clock Saturday football game. The South Pointe Stallions at 13-1 taking on the 13-1 South Florence Bruins. The Stallions 40-0 blanking of Westside last week, averaging 39 points per game on offense, 7 allowed on defense. Quarterback Jazavian Currents 10 for 15, 209, 2 touchdowns. Also ran it 12 times for 101 and another touchdown. Running back R.J. Brown 14 for 111, 2 TDs. Receiver Malik Ratliff 4 for 111 and a touchdown. Caden Watkins, Dallin Duncan, Caden Vassell, also weapons for them. Offensive line led by South Carolina commit Anthony Baxter. Defensively, linebacker Bryson Ginn, 12 tackles, a TFL, and a pick. Daquan Evans, 8 tackles. Miles Wilson, 8 tackles, 2 TFLs. KJ Berg, 6 tackles. Currents, 6 tackles, a TFL, and a pick last week. Seth Tillman, 5 tackles. And also Zymir Gordon-Miles, a big-time player for Coach Collins' bunch. The South Florence team that John and I saw last Friday, they defeated Gray Collegiate 55-14, averaging 46 on offense, 12 allowed on defense. Quarterback Messiah Jackson, 4 for 8 for 52 yards and a touchdown, 16 for 105 rushing, and 5 more touchdowns, John. Running back Cam James, 16 for 176 and a touchdown. Gabe McLaughlin, 8 for 54 and a touchdown. Receiver June Perkins caught a touchdown pass. Malik Robinson also weapon out wide for them. Defensively, we say it every week. We talk about South Florence. Tons of guys you know. Warnell Prue, 6 tackles, a sack. Willie Kennedy, 6 tackles. Terry Gordon, 5 tackles. Amari Reeves, 4 tackles, a pick, and a kickoff return touchdown. He now has 4 picks over the last 2 weeks, and I believe 4 touchdowns as a defensive player and special teams player the past 2 weeks. Really crazy what he is doing on the back end there. Jewel Washington also a pick along with Frederick Cooper, Will Watson, Josh Gant, and Quayshawn Bird. John, this South Florence group, they're going for back-to-back state titles, trying to make it 3 out of 4. They play for state now 4 years in a row. South Pointe, first time back since 2021. Who do you like in this matchup, man? A really, really talented squad on both sides of the field, it feels like.
Yeah, I don't know that you can ask for a much better matchup than this right here. You've got 2 really well-coached teams. South Florence, you've got good size. I watched the line of scrimmage a lot Friday night because I was thinking, okay, there might be a chance the South Florence team blows Gray off the ball. Offensive line against the Gray defensive line. They didn't do that. They didn't push the defensive line back, off the snap, but they just controlled the line of scrimmage. They were, again, a classic Coach Marlowe group where they need to be doing their job, opening the lanes, those running lanes for those backs. And it was a beautifully played football game. It's what we've grown accustomed to with this Bruin program over the last few years. They're still big. They've still got a lot of athletes, and they can do it any which way. We saw them throw the ball, well, run the ball well, and score on defense. The big thing we talked about Gray, how good the kick and punt return team was. They didn't let Gray get a huge play on special teams, and they kicked the ball to them. They didn't avoid them. They went after them. On the South Pointe side, I don't know that there is a more athletic team in the state than the South Pointe Stallion group. We talked about them all year, how they want to run the ball, want to keep the ball on the ground. They don't necessarily want to throw the ball 20, 30 times a game if they don't have to. This is going to be a fun game because of that matchup. I think the athletes for South Pointe, when they've got the football, and then the textbook defense that we see from the South Florence team, they're going to make South Pointe go out there and earn it if South Pointe goes out and wins this game. I like the Stallions to win this game because I think that their home run hitters and athleticism is going to be what's going to make the difference in this ball game. But I think this is going to be similar to the 1A game where I think we're going to see some points, but I don't know if we're going to see a ton of drives from the 20-yard line all the way down the field. I think it's going to be big plays on both ends. I like South Pointe because I think this is the year where they've got more athletic ability and more talent than anyone else in 4A. The South Florence team, they're not going anywhere. I think they could be right back here again next year as well. We saw some of the younger guys warming up before the game Friday. They got a next group of guys coming in next year too. They look great top to bottom. I like South Pointe in this game though, just because of the talent, the athleticism. I think it's a little bit weighted in the Stallions' favor. This should be a great football game, and I would put a lot on the line that this is going to be a really, really, really close game late, and it's going to come down to the fourth quarter, last possession, last two possessions. Should be a great football game.
The Bruins, John, have won 12 games by 20-plus points. The Stallions have won 10 by 20-plus points. So both teams have been getting it done. And this is just such an intriguing matchup to me. Like if you think about when South Pointe has the football, Currents is so dynamic back there at quarterback. He can run it. One of the faster players on the field. He's also probably a better passer than most people realize as well. If you're South Florence, I guess you spy him because you can't let him get loose for a 60, 70-yard run. But then if you spy him, are you leaving your guys on islands on the back end because they've got so many weapons with Ratliff and Vassell and Watkins and Duncan? I don't know what you do for South Florence on defense. That's going to be really intriguing, matchup to see how they play it. Then you flip it around. South Florence, Coach Marlowe, such a great system. Like what they're going to do. They're going to run the football at you. They're going to have the little H-back in there and probably run a little power at you. It's just, can you stop it? I mean, they are so disciplined, so well coached. They are in the right place every time. And if you're not in the right place, they're going to take advantage. And I think that's the key for South Pointe. You got to make sure your alignment's right. You got to make sure eyes in the right place. You got to get set and be ready to roll because South Florence is going to come right at you. No questions about it. They're going to run the football right down your throat. We think back to that game last year with Westside in the state title. Westside really stacked the box, thought that they had the corners out wide to play one-on-one with Jaden Sellers and crew. And Sellers burned them several times. But this year, I don't know if the Bruins have that type of athlete out wide. I like Perkins a lot, but I don't know if Perkins and Robinson and crew can get us open against Watkins and Currents in that group on the back end like Sellers did last year. So that's a key to me. Can they have a receiver step up, make a play? So they're going to have somebody if they want to win this football game. But this is going to be a fantastic football game. Like you said, I think it's going to be tough for either team to drive the football. Going to need some big chunk plays if you want to score. And I'll say this, we mentioned South Florence playing for their fourth straight title. I think I've picked it wrong the last 2 years. I think 2 years ago I picked them. Westside won. Last year I picked Westside. The Bruins won. I can't get a feel for them. Just when you count them out, they win. I don't know. But when I talked to Coach Collins after that Northwestern game this year, he said, it's time for South Pointe to get them one. And I think they do. I think the Stallions win this game. A few too many athletes. And what they can do on defense, they've got enough athletes on the back end, and they've got a couple guys on the line that are really good, man. Seth Tillman and that crew can really make some noise up front as well. I think it's a tight ball game, a good football game, but I like the Stallions to win this one. And I think Currents leads them to a state title. Drell, what do you like in this 4A game? Who you taking, man? I think you're like me. I think we both picked it backwards the last couple of years.
Yeah, picked it wrong.
I think we probably all have. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. No, 4A it's been such great games. This one's probably the hardest one of the week for me to pick. Simply because both of these teams and these programs are great. Just state championship appearances, state championship wins, great coaching staffs. Just great support all the way around. Just dynamic players who are playing on Saturdays. Of course, you got another team from Football City, USA, bunch of players on Sundays, from these programs. So this one's really, really difficult. But more importantly, it's because I think, obviously, I think that the athletes at South Pointe are a little bit better. They're going to have the best player on the field. I think Bulldog mentioned that in the comments, which is Avian Currents. He's probably going to win Mr. Football this year. I made the mistake of picking against him and South Pointe earlier in the year.
Me too.
I'm going to be stupid and do it again. South Florence is a team where I think other than Dutch Fork in the state, they just make you play their game. And we kind of saw this too last year. Westside threw for 1,000 yards, scored 1,000 points. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. South Florence still found a way to win because that's the type of program they have. Coach Marlowe is one of the smartest coaches that we have in the state. So that's why I'm leaning that way. And, of course, the experience that they have. Not to say that South Pointe hasn't played in a ton of big games, but these particular kids haven't been to this level where this is the 4th straight state championship appearance for South Florence. So I give them a slight edge. 3-point game, 2-point game, 1-point game. It's going to be another tight one, but I like the Bruins in this one.
Wow. I love it, man. This is a great football game here. I can't wait to see the way these two teams kind of get after it. But what's the chat picking in this one? Who are they leaning towards? Travis says he went to the game. South Pointe is a beast. They are, man. They've got so many athletes, and they've been in close games. You know, they scheduled tough non-region as well. Like, they played some really good North Carolina teams. They played a really good Northwestern team, beat them late with the comeback win. Like, they've been in these low-scoring, tight football games. They won't be afraid of the pressure, I don't think, on Saturday. Bulldogs says South Pointe is the best player on the field. Yep. Carmine Currents is that good, man. He really is. Brandon says should be a great game. He's going South Pointe 38-35. Dion says 38-35 South Florence. Skylar says South Florence wins 42-21. Travis says South Pointe 28-24. Quentin's got South Florence by 14. Ryan says South Pointe by 3. Troy says South Pointe by 14. Kenneth's got 28-21 South Florence Bruins. Lee says South Florence physical in the trenches linebacker play make the difference 31-28 South. Kenneth says one of the best games in years. Denard says South Pointe's got the best player in the state. Brown says South Pointe by 7.
Yeah, this was tough. Anybody, and I have to disagree, anybody in the chat saying this game's more than 2 scores, I just don't see how it happens. I really don't, unless there's, some fluky weather or, some fluky turnovers. I think that's the only way. I think these teams are too evenly matched. And
it's tough for me because I've got so many different questions in my head. Like, I just don't want to make, I said all year long after seeing South Pointe play Northwestern, I was like, you're not going to beat South Pointe by throwing the football. You're just not going to do it. South Florence doesn't want to throw the football. Like, they want to run it. So, like, what does that mean? And then if you flip it over on the South Pointe side, I think the linebackers D-line at South Florence can somewhat shut down the run game probably for South Pointe. Can Currents beat you throwing the football? I don't know. He's going to have a big game, I think, running and throwing. So, a lot of unknowns in what should be a classic 4A game. I wish this wasn't 12 o'clock on Saturday. I'd love to have this at night, one of the nights, but
that's a scary thing. Well, it was primetime a couple years ago. Not primetime, at 12 o'clock a couple years ago, and that was a great game. The only thing that scares me about picking South Florence is Currents he can throw on that Superman cape and completely take over the game. So that's the X factor. We'll see how South Florence's defense is able to slow him down. Oh yeah, and he can make plays in the back end as well. So
right, yeah. Another pick last week, man. Nothing to it.
But yeah, let's keep it rolling, guys.
Yeah, well, Drill, let's shout out friends of the program. Come back and go through 5A Division 2 and Division 1.
Founders Federal Credit Union means banking made for you. The on the go, the pick up and go, and the I want to go. Because at Founders, we give you the financial tools that make every dollar work for you. For the little things to the big things. For your future and your peace of mind. We'll always stay grounded in our roots, but reaching beyond what you'd expect is where we'll always go. Find out what our members already know and enjoy a new way to bank. Relax, you're with Founders.
Schedule your sewer drain clearing with Preferred Home Services today. If we can't clear it, it's free.
Electrical, plumbing, cooling too.
Go, 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 Preferred!
Looking for top-notch sports gear and uniforms? Look no further than First Team Sports. With 30 years of serving the Carolinas, First Team Sports is your local full-service dealer. From youth teams to colleges, we've got you covered with team uniforms, staff apparel, letterman jackets, sports equipment, and facility branding. Visit our local store in Greenville or firstteamsc.com. Make First Team your first choice. Let's move now to 5A Division 2. John, a rematch again from last year. We've got Northwestern, the Trojans at 12-1, taking on the 12-1 Irmo Yellow Jackets. This game last year, John, closed down the weekend, and Northwestern won on a walk-off field goal, 34-31. Last week, the Trojans, 51-19, big over Indian, averaging 49 on offense, 23 allowed per game on defense. Irmo rolled over a good Berkeley Stags team, 44-6, averaging 39 on offense, 16 allowed on defense. John, are we in for another classic like last year? What do you see between the Trojans and the Yellow Jackets?
I hope so. I think we will see a good game. I think Irmo's too good. I think they're both too good to get blown out. I think we're going to see a close game here. We saw a great game last year. I hope we get to see something similar to that this year. But the biggest difference for me in last year's matchup to this year's matchup is Irmo lost a lot of the talent they had from that team last year. And they've done a very good job this year. They have played very, very well. They've done a great job to get to where they are back to Orangeburg this year. I don't think a whole lot of people expected them to not have the drop-off after losing the talent that they had off of this team from last year. But this Northwestern group, they have a lot of those same names and faces. And they don't have a quarterback, but they have a lot of those supporting characters back this year. And this Northwestern team has just been, we saw it last week too. Well, we've seen it twice against Indian. I mean, they put up 50 points like it's nothing against some really good teams. Indian team with a good defense. Last week, 52 against a Gaffney team with a good defense. Now, they had to do it against Gaffney, giving up 45. But this Northwestern offense is lethal. They put up, I think they put up 55 against South Florence, team that we just talked about being, such a good sound team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think this Northwestern offense has too many weapons to lose this game. And what scares me, Irmo is definitely good enough to win this ball game, and they certainly could. What scares me about Irmo is that the one game that I watched, and again, let's keep that in mind, the one game this year that I watched of Irmo was that Dutch Fork game. And I know I picked Irmo. I think we all picked Irmo. I think Irmo is arguably the better team. I stand by that. And they had so many chances to win that football game and couldn't do it. And I don't know if that's because it's Dutch Fork and it's that mentality or not. But what worries me about the Yellow Jackets is, are we going to see them in this a similar position this weekend where they've got chances to win the game and they get in their own way and they just don't make the play? That worries me about this Irmo team. That could just be one game. They won close games against Burns and Oceanside early in the year. They can win close games. But I think Northwestern, I like their ability to be more explosive on offense and just being kind of like the other York County team, South Pointe. I think they just have a little too much talent on their end of the football field to lose this game. I like the Trojans to win back-to-back years, but it should be a really, really fun football game. We talked a lot about defense in a lot of these games. I think we're going to see a pretty high-scoring game in this one. This should be, you talk about fireworks, this one, and I think the one in game too, could really light up the scoreboard.
Northwestern, led by quarterback Xavier Means last week, 15 for 21, $157. Also ran it 22 times for 164 and 4 touchdowns. He's really become more effective in the run game the last few weeks down the stretch here for Coach Walford's group. Running back Nigel Smith, 16 for 69 and a touchdown. Receiver Cameron Vance, 6 for 61. Jonathan Spurgeon, 4 for 45. Offensive line is good. Defensive line is quick up front. Had to replace a bunch of guys from last year, but still have a bunch of guys who can really get after it. Linebackers Cam McFadden had 14 tackles, 1.5 TFLs. Tamarian Watkins, the Texas A&M commit, 9 tackles, half a TFL, a pick, and a PBU. Josh Singleton, 6 tackles, a pick. McKinnon, Neely, Cannon, and Baxter. Jaden Baxter, a guy I like a lot as well on the back end. Irmo, quarterback Dre Dobson has played really well this year. He can be a runner if needed to be, but I think he prefers to play kind of in the pocket there. Running back Amir White, he's a big physical runner in the backfield for them. Receiver, the youngster Corey Miller, absolutely electric out wide for them. big-time playmaker, can hit you over the top whenever he needs to. Explosive athlete Malik Miller. He's the key for that offense for me, though. Last week, 3 touchdowns, including a punt return touchdown. He'll take some snaps at running back and receiver for Coach Brand's bunch. Ethan Singletary, Jay Eady, also weapons that wide for them. Offensive line led by Nate Carson and Bryson Moore. The defense, John, the defensive line is just a bunch of freaks. I mean, it is. You got Jaden Bryant, Major Taylor, Tyrone Jennings, just guys that can get after the quarterback and stuff the run game. Last week, Jennings had 12 tackles and 3 sacks in that win over Berkeley. Safety Jamar Grissett locks down the back end. He had 3 picks a couple weeks ago in a game. Jaden Arrington, CJ Kearns, Makari Allen Hendricks, also playmakers on defense for that group. Last week allowed 94 passing yards, 99 rushing yards, 193 total, and just 6 points against a really good Berkeley offense led by Henry Rivers and that crew there. It's a game where, John, you mentioned where Northwestern has some guys back, but a lot of new faces as well. Xavier Mee stepping in at quarterback has been a big-time playmaker for Coach Walford's bunch there. And a key for them, I think, if they get a lead early, they know how to stretch it out. Like that, if they get on top, they can really kind of blow the doors off really quick. I think for Irmo, you got to stay in the game early. Can't let the Trojans get out to an early lead. But on the Irmo side, the defense has been fantastic. They've been carrying this team all year long. Offense has kind of had some struggles trying to kind of figure it out and whatnot. The Irmo defense, I think, will keep them in this football game. And I think if Means – he's going to have to pass the ball more. I don't think he's going to run it for 25 times for, 22 for 164? I don't think the quarterback will run for Irmo and get those type of yards or against Irmo. He's going to have a successful passing night in this ball game. Can he do it? We shall see. For me, and you kind of hinted at it, John, Irmo, I guess, still hasn't, won the big one in this run they've been on. They lose to Northwestern last year in the state title game. Lose to South Florence in the lower state title game a couple years back. They haven't won the region. They've lost to Dutch Fork. Just have not won that big one yet. And Northwestern's a team that I really do not pick against much. But this week I'm going Big Irmo. I think the Yellow Jackets get it done. I think they get that big one. I think they win the state title this week behind the defense. I think they hold down Northwestern just enough. And I think Malik Miller, Corey Miller, and crew on offense make enough plays to win a really exciting football game. I'm taking Irmo to beat Northwestern. Drill, what do you like? What's the chat saying? Like all these games are tough to pick, and I'm still kind of surprised I did that, but I'm going Irmo.
Yeah, I'm running it back. I picked Irmo last year to win this game, and I'm going to do it again. I like what they have to offer on that D-line, and I think that's the main factor for me is, I think, John, you mentioned like losing a few players. I think the losses of Pickett and Polk, both for Northwestern are going to be very, very difficult. Xavier Means has been lights out all year. Yeah. He has played really good football, but again, you mentioned there's some freaks on that defensive line. They're really going to pin their ears back and try to get after them. And we'll have to see how he's able to navigate that, throughout the course of the game. And I think it's just going to be a little bit too much. And I do like Dre Dobson. He's played in a lot of big games. He's played in a lot of games just period in his career. Yeah. He's been starting since he was a freshman. So I think he's going to be poised for this run. I like Irmo to win this game. I think it's another one's going to be tight. But there's X factors. I'm surprised, Kevin, you didn't bring this up. Especially special teams with Cam Vance. They won this game, yeah. Special teams, especially with kicker, ice water in his veins last year. So we'll see how that factors into the game. Obviously, we'll look out for weather. I think that impacts definitely Northwestern more than it does in Irmo in that situation. But I like Irmo to win this game. But I think it's another tight one. I think it's going to be a 10-point, 7-point game.
Yeah, can't wait for this one, man. Maybe the most talented, groups on the field might be in this football game. This. Well.
We got one more. We got one more.
Everybody's talented. I don't know what to say, Drill. Everybody's talented. I can't wait for this football game. That's what I'm trying to say. All right. What's the chat saying about this one?
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of talent on the field, though, for sure.
Garnett says Irmo has them this time. Jonathan says Northwestern 34-28. Dion's got Irmo 31-24. Jesse says Irmo by 14 numbers defense is going to make the difference. I think that's the key for sure. Travis says Irmo 34-28. Richard says Northwestern 45, Irmo 20. Quentin says Irmo wins the rematch. Ricky says Irmo by a touchdown. Irmo defense will be the difference. Nathan says Big Irmo. Manzi has Irmo as well. Demion says they can't block us. Nathan says Irmo will be ready. Our dogs are ready to run. Rami says Irmo revenge tour. Troy's got Northwestern by 24, says Troy. Brandon says Irmo 28-21.
Oh, Danny, I'm gonna pin this comment.
Danny says you guys are so wrong. Northwestern 48, Irmo 21.
We
could be.
Wrong.
Not me.
Ricky's got 35-28 Irmo.
For sure, but yeah, a lot of differing opinions on this one. Should be another fantastic football game, guys.
Can't wait for that one. Well, let's look now. The 5A Division I game, John, the final game of the weekend, 7:30 Saturday night, another rematch from last year. Dutch Fork, the Silver Foxes at 11-1, taking on the 12-2 Summerville Green Wave. Dutch Fork, 35-21 victors in this game last year for the state title. The Silver Foxes, a big 30-10 win over Dorman last week, averaging 37 on offense, 12 allowed on defense. Jackson Knotts at quarterback, 17 for 22, a $137. Also ran for 60 yards and a touchdown. Has really become a strong running threat down the stretch as well for this Coach Knotts bunch. Running back Quentin Wilson had 16 for 84, 2 touchdowns. Kyle Henry and Braden Johnson can also step in when needed. Receivers Stone Furry, Sheldon Shine, and Chase Betts. Offensive line led by Brody Lorenzo. How about this, John? Last week, Lorenzo, 6 pancake blocks from the center position. Really impressive there in that win. Defensively, they're great up front. Julian Walker, the Michigan commit, 9 tackles, a TFL, and a fumble recovery. Jaden Worth, 3 tackles, a TFL, a sack. And then also Lucian Cesario up front for that group. Linebacker Raleigh Salters has played a lot of football, man, really knows where to be, and is a really good playmaker in the linebacker spot for them. Defensive backs, you've got Kareem Dupree at safety, 9 tackles. Sebastian Lake, 7 tackles. Mario Anderson and Tadrick Gibson as well. They held a really good Dorman rushing attack to under 100 yards last week, John, and they held Burns the week before to right around 100 as well. The Summerville side, a big 45-16 win over James Island, averaging 40 on offense, 18 allowed on defense per game. Max Stafford, a pass touchdown and a rushing touchdown. Running back Javen Williams, a monster game with 4 touchdowns for the Green Wave. Cam Grayson also steps in, gets some big carries for them as well. Receiver Jaden Kelly Murray, the landlord, had a touchdown. Teru Davis is a weapon for them. Defensively, JT Williams, Tyree Patton at linebacker, Eli Presley, Josiah Taylor, Jacaden Pendergrass, Jordan Ravenel at DB. All big-time players for Coach Rafferty there, John. This Summerville group surprised me last week. You know, like I think we all picked James Island, but we were like, hey, if Summerville wins, won't be surprised. But a 45-16 scoreline, I was very surprised by the way that shook out. Summerville, can they beat Dutch Fork this week? What do you like in this 5A Division I matchup?
Yes, Summerville has been. I don't know what to think of them in the playoffs because they revenged that loss to Ashley Ridge in the second round. They beat them up pretty well, scored 48 points in that game. And then they turn around the very next week against Carolina Forest, and they nearly lose. They win a 1-point game in that one. So then I'm thinking going into last week, hey, James Island, they're in a good shape here. And the game wasn't competitive. No. Not even – and I think I may have said it. This James Island defense is too good to get blown out. They got blown out. Yeah. So I don't know what to think going into this game with Summerville. Are we going to get the Summerville team that beat up on James Island last week, or are we going to get the team that lost Ashley Ridge in the regular season, eked out a 1-point win against Carolina Forest? I don't know. But what I do know is on the other side of the football field, the Silver Foxes are going to make it very, very difficult on this Green Wave offense. I've watched more Dutch Fork football this season than I probably have in any other season. And the offense leaves a lot to be desired. Jackson Knotts, he's faster than what
he can move.
Defense is giving him credit for, because he'll take off and guys just don't have the angle on him. He can move. They can score, but the offense is not, it doesn't scare you. The Dutch Fork offense doesn't scare you, but it doesn't have to. That Burns game, I watched that Burns game. Burns repeatedly got the football in great field position and could not do anything with it. They had a couple runs here and there, could not put together a drive. They couldn't score when they had the ball on the plus side of the football field. And they had those opportunities several times. This Dutch Fork defense is just really, really good. And it's not just up front. It's not just the linebacker level. It's up front. It's the front seven and it's the secondary as well. It's guys that have played a lot of football, a lot of experience. I think this Dutch Fork defense, again, like they did against Burns, you could say the defense won against Irmo. They scored 30 points. They made big plays against Irmo when they needed them to win that game. I think this is a low-scoring football game, and I think Dutch Fork just finds ways defensively to make enough stops to win this game. Summerville, I think the offense is good enough to put up some points. You might see a game in the 20s, which is a lot of points against Dutch Fork. But I trust this Dutch Fork defense more than any other unit on the football field in this game. The Silver Foxes, whether it's up front with Julian Walker, Riley Salters, or an interception in the secondary, this defense is going to step up and win this football game for Dutch Fork. And also, we have a rule now: we don't pick against Dutch Fork. I can't do it here, not in the state championship.
Yeah, both teams have been pretty balanced pass and run throughout the season because they've got really good playmakers at each level, it feels like, this one. But you mentioned Dutch Fork really relying on the defense. I mean, that has been their calling card. Even last week, they get down 10-0 Dorman. Like, oh, no, Dorman didn't score again. Like, that was it. Like, that was nothing to them at all. Dutch Fork going for their 4th straight state title, 7 out of 8. Have played for 10 in a row now, John, as well. So really impressive what Coach Knotts, his bunch has done there. I believe I saw where if he wins this week, he will tie for the career, state record for state title wins. I think it's him and John McKissick and Willie Varner as well. I believe all would tie for that number 1 spot there. Summerville, though, I feel like they're just like a completely different team since that Ashley Ridge lost the first time. Like, they've been playing great football since that point. They've got the athletes on both sides of the football, every level on defense, every level on offense as well, to make some plays in this game and certainly to hang around. I think going into the year, we thought we'd probably see this game again, and we thought Summerville would have a chance. I think they do have a chance this week. I really do. But, man, I think if you're the Green Wave and you want to win this game, you got to start fast, and just not even because, you're going to run away from it, just because I think it's like a mental type deal. Like, you need to know, we can play with these guys. We can hang with these guys. I think you need to get a couple scores early, hang around first quarter, maybe the first half, and then just kind of be in it in the second half and see what happens. But like you said, John, I think Dutch Fork, they've just proved it so many times. I think what they can do, what they're doing with the run game right now, with Wilson and Knotts and that crew behind that big offensive line, I think they win this football game. A little bit lower scoring, probably, but I like the Silver Foxes to win. I think they make it 4 in a row here in 5A Division I. Jarrell, what do you like? What's the chat saying on this matchup, man? A repeat that we feel like we didn't get our money's worth last year because, you lose Jaden Cummings to Summerville early on in that game. Cooper Cafina has to come in. He plays well, but you like to see both teams at full strength. We get a kind of a reset this year, I guess you could say.
Yeah, let me start off by apologizing to Summerville and their faithful for picking against them last week. And they blew the doors off James Island. I was completely wrong about that, as we all were. Also, they have some of the best social teams out there. I mean, these two social teams are the best. I love the content that they always put up. But again, I'm not picking against the team that has played for a state championship for the last decade, 10 straight years. I'm just not doing it. I'm not picking against the coach that's going for number 16, 17
overall. I don't know.
Total. I'm just not going to do that. That's no disrespect. I love Summerville, especially the offense. I love what Coach Rafferty's done. This is the standard program in Summerville, historically in the state. Coach McKissick, how fitting that we get this game again. How fitting that Knotts has an opportunity to tie that record, against Summerville. But I think they're going to be able to get it done. The defense, you guys have gone over the football reasons why. I mean, that defense of Dutch Fork has played well. Offensively, they do just enough, and that's the thing about Dutch Fork is it doesn't matter. They find ways to win these. The reason why they've been here 10 straight years, because it doesn't matter. 1 year it's defense, 1 year it's offense. They can just be multiple in what they do. Sometimes they're running the ball. Sometimes they're throwing it all over the yard. It just doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they just win these football games. And, it's going to take a great effort from Summerville. I think they have enough talent to do it. But it's one of those situations where you just have to see it get done.
I mean, Drew, this Summerville team we had them very high in our poll all year long. I think we may have actually moved to number 1 week, or we thought about it. So I mean, they were number 2, number 3. Like, they were at the top of our poll. So it's not like we don't respect them. Like, we know they are very good. It's just Dutch Fork in the playoff state title game, man. I don't know how you pick against them. I don't. I mean, just they've been there, done that, got that T-shirt 10 times now, whatever it is. So it's pretty impressive. Riverside says 10th annual Dutch Fork Invitational. Quentin says Summerville wins the rematch.
17.
Brandon says Dutch Fork 31-17. It'll be 17 overall for Knox. I think it'll be 11, I think, in South Carolina, I think is the number. Garner says impressed with Summerville, but Dutch Fork by 3 touchdowns.
Let's see.
Dion's got 31-10 Dutch Fork. Travis says Summerville 31-21. Ramsey says Smalltown and Irmo will have 2 champions this year. Ryan says Dutch Fork by 21. Cameron says sleep on DeVille if you want. We're not sleeping, Cameron. It's just we're just not picking them. Sorry. We know they're very good. We know they're good. Dutch Fork by 14 says Ricky. Ville by 10 says Brandon. Paige says Dutch Fork 28-14.
Let's see.
And while you're looking, Drew, I'll say that, last week going into the week, I think we talked about it on the preview show. We're like, hey, Dorman's got the talent to kind of hang around in this football game. Like, they can hang with Dutch Fork. They go up 10-0. Like, oh, buddy, here we go. Dutch Fork, I mean, no sweat. Like, they don't panic, and they come back and win the game by 20 points. I mean, that's just what they do. Yeah. Troy's got Dutch Fork by 10.
Yeah, and to that point, I mean, it's a situation like those are coaching adjustments, and those are kids who are used to being in those situations. Like, it was not going their way. This is a team in Dorman that matched up pretty well with them. And again, they win by 3 scores. So it just is what it is.
Yeah.
That's all the comments we got here, guys.
Look forward to a great football game there. Once again, that's the 7:30 Saturday slate closing out the weekend drill. Let's shout out friends of the program. We'll come back and go through a couple notes, a couple questions, and wrap up the state title show here.
Everyday life means everyday expenses. Spend smarter with a Founders Federal Credit Union credit card, offering you low rates and big rewards where it matters most. Enjoy all the benefits of saving while using your Founders Essential MasterCard. Make every swipe and tap count with smart rates, big rewards on select cards, and no balance transfer or annual fees. Because your money should go where you want it to. That's the power of Founders Federal Credit Union. Apply today at foundersfcu.com. Relax. You're with Founders.
The George Agency has been serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for over 40 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Murrells Inlet, but they can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, and more, so wherever you are, they can help. Give Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew a call or check them out online at thegeorgeagency.net. That's thegeorgeagency.net. Our Pick'em contest brought to you by Hannah Engineering. Each and every week throughout the season, we do a Pick'em contest. We do our regular season. Now we're in our playoff Pick'em here. Drell, our leaders from round 4, we had 2 perfect scores, David and Jacob with an 11 spot, a bunch of 10s. I couldn't even type them all on the sheet. We had too many there. And then John Drell and I also had 10 as well. Our overall leader going in the state title, we got David C. at 36, Tyler, Chase, and Daryl at 35, a bunch of 34s and 33s as well. Drell 36, John 35, I'm at 34. And guys, the tiebreaker for the playoff pick'em, we go to highest point scored in the state title round. If it's still tied, we'll go down to round 4, then round 3 until we figure it out. So make sure you get those in. We got an earlier deadline as well. I think it's 11 a.m. on Friday with the first game being at 12. So get it done a little bit earlier on Friday. Once again, our friends at Hannah Engineering helping us out with that each and every week. Been a lot of fun. Gives you a lot of reasons to check out games outside of just your area or just outside of your town. So certainly that's on our social media page, also on our email list we have going out as well.
I just had to put that back up there just one more time because I'm in the lead. I'm never in the lead, so I just wanted to, and I can control this 36 right
spot. I love it. So shout out Hannah Engineering. Shout out to our friends at First Team Sports Center. We'll have our season-ending poll coming out next week after these state finals are played. Just appreciate those guys. Our teams of the week from Preferred Home Services, we had Strom, Thurmond, Summerville, and South Florence. And our playoff performers all insured by the Georgia Agency. Shout out to our friends there. That's on our blog, on our website, and our social pages. A lot of great showings from team or players across the state. Make sure you send us those this week again as well. So once again, shout out to Preferred Home Services, First Team Sports, Hand Engineering, and the Georgia Agency. I do have a couple notes I want to go through here, guys. If you guys did not know, the upper state teams are the home teams this year, so they'll be in their home uniforms. The $20 ticket is good for all day, and if you buy it through the school gets a kickback as well. So certainly do that to help out your program. We just posted today on our social media pages the channels on TV these games are on across the state. It's a different station from Myrtle Beach to Charleston to Columbia, etc. But check that out on Facebook and Twitter. It shows you where to watch the games all weekend long. The weather, like I mentioned earlier, could see a lot of rain Friday. Might see some rain Saturday. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. But a question I did want to ask you guys here. What is more likely? The town of Rock Hill goes 2-0 or the town of Irmo goes 2-0? What's more likely, John? What's more likely, Jarrell? What do you think? We've obviously got Dutch Fork and Irmo out of Irmo going after it, and then we've got South Pointe and Northwestern out of Rock Hill, both trying to get state titles. Who do you think goes 2-0? Does nobody go 2-0? What's more likely, I guess, in you guys' opinion?
I mean, off of my picks, I have to go York County and Rock Hill. But if you're a mathematician, does Irmo just have to win for Irmo High School have to win for Irmo to get 2 wins? Because I know Summerville fans, you don't want to hear that, but Dutch Fork, you can't go against Dutch Fork. I'm going to go York County, but that's a tough call.
Yeah, I mean, mine's pretty easy. I picked both Irmo schools to win, and I picked both York County schools to lose. So I guess I'd be going against myself.
I split it. I had one York County and 2 Irmo. I'm going to go Irmo to win it, I think. Yeah. But should be crazy. It's awesome to see these small towns, not even small towns for those cases, but just see the multiple schools from that area get after it. I'm sure everybody's going to support them. Going to be a great showing. It should be a great showing all weekend long. We got some really good small towns at the lower levels who I know we're going to support, bring out huge crowds. Going to be great to watch Friday and Saturday. Hope you guys can make it as well. Drell and I should be down there. Hopefully it doesn't rain on us. We'll see how that shakes out. But going to be interesting weekend down in Orangeburg. And like I mentioned, guys, earlier, I know this is our last preview show of the season. We still have content in the winter, in the spring, and the summer. We have a bunch of new coaches hired. We're going to interview those guys, a bunch of player interviews. We'll have some stuff from, conventions and whatnot, like always. So hopefully check us out that time as well. Brandon says we have a wrap-up show next Tuesday. Great question. We may take that one offline, John and Darrell, and figure out what works for everybody's schedule, if we want to do that or not.
Yeah.
So we may, Brandon. We've done that before, so we'll see about this year if we want to do that or not. I'm not really sure, but check us out the next couple of days. We'll have a lot of content. Obviously, we're going to be interviewing tons of coaches and players from the games this weekend. So certainly follow us on all platforms: Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and more at Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS. MovinChains.com is our website, our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Like I said, lots of great content coming this week. You don't want to miss it. Want to follow along and help us support these guys, support the state of South Carolina as a whole. Get your Movin the Chains merch right now. Some great Richardson hats, gray front, gray back, black back, also a black front one up there as well, and some more on our social page you can look at. We have toboggans right now, a gray toboggan, a black toboggan, great for this cold weather. These make great Christmas gifts. We'll get some quick shipping. Order yours today. Email us info@movinchains.com. Our stickers, Movin the Chain stickers, great for your car, your laptop, your Yeti cup. Support the boys with those. Also, hoodies, kind of a stone color here, also a gray color, front and back logo. Then we have T-shirts as well, a black T-shirt, a navy blue, a gray, and a pink. Order those today. Support us, support the teams across the state so we can hopefully get those guys some more courage or some more coverage across the state, I guess you could say there. Once again, email us, info@movinchains.com, or send us a DM on social media to order your merch today. John, any final thoughts from you as we wrap up the Weekend of Champions preview show here?
No, I can't wait. I hope you guys are able to stay dry next week. I'm hoping for chaos since I will be watching from the comfort of the living room, but it should be great football. I hope we have great crowds and, really excited to see some guys getting crowned as champions.
Should be a lot of fun. Drell, any final thoughts from you as we get ready to head into the Weekend of Champions. Guys, we always say, if you see us down there, come say hello. We'd love to talk the ball, talk some ball with you, say hello to you. Certainly come shout us out, and we'd love to catch up with you guys if you're at Orangeburg for the game as well.
Yeah, no, I'm ecstatic to get down to Orangeburg. They've done a really good job. Again, I still, I'll plug it right now. I still think we need to get these games back up to Columbia, but it is what it is. But those fine folks do a great job.
Somebody write some letters. Write some letters.
Fine folks at SC State do a fantastic job. I'm excited. I'm in the middle. I travel for work, so I'm in Michigan right now, and it's about 12 degrees. So I'm excited to get back down to the Palmetto State on Thursday, so we can get down to Orangeburg on Friday. So it's going to be exciting. And if you can, if you're in the area, a couple hours, come see some games, especially on Saturday. I think the weather's going to clear up a little bit more on Saturday. So if you can make it out then, if not, tune in, and we'll work on getting a wrap-up show. I think we'll probably try to do something next week.
Yeah. Any final comments from the chat, Drew, we need to roll into here before we wrap for the evening?
I don't see anything special. People just shouting out their teams. Fred asking us if we do basketball. No chance.
Don't have time for that, Fred. Sorry, my man. I would love to. Just don't have time to do that multiple times a week.
We're barely smart enough to do this. So, yeah, no basketball, unfortunately.
Yeah, once again, if you're buying tickets to the game, try to buy it through your school so they can get a little kickback off of that. Certainly do that. Also, shout out to all these kids that are signing tomorrow. I know it's signing day, so we'll see a lot of really talented kids across the state putting pen to paper, signing where they're going to college. Going to be loving to see that tomorrow. But another great show, guys. I can't wait to get down to Orangeburg. Should be a fantastic Weekend of Champions, man. 1A all the way through 5A. We got great matchups. It could certainly go either way, but going to be a lot of fun. I do want to say thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. It's been a great season, a lot of fun this season talking ball. The growth we've seen on the program has been really, really great. It's been exponential, honestly. It's been cool to see what you guys have helped us build here. So hopefully we'll continue to grow it and make it bigger and better. But for Jarrell Hendricks and John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. This has been our state championship preview show here on Moving the Chains, talking all things South Carolina high school football. We will catch you guys soon.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin' the Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin' Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.